didn't think that I was going to become an architect. I was always interested in design, always interested in the arts, but never thought of myself as being an architect. I thought that was a profession for men, not for women. So I studied theater. I also have to study history of architecture, and I was able to visualize all of the details and the architecture element, and I thought maybe I should change. Instead of being in the theater, I decided to study architecture. The challenge of women in the architecture profession, I think, is not unsimilar to the challenge of women in all other professions. It's a known fact that women has to work twice as hard as men do, and I always like to try to have a balance of male and female designers in the office as well. I think they're both valuable. I think that they bring in different point of view, and I think that's super important. It has always been a profession of collaboration. I personally believe that architecture is like if you play as in a jazz ensemble. You improvise, you react, you respond to what the other person say, and you need to work together as a whole ensemble. I think that's super important, to be able to collaborate and to be open to ideas. When I started teaching was at the same time that I started founding Hodgetts Fung. It's difficult to separate the two for me now. It's like I have this dual life. I can't imagine not teaching. It forces you to question all the time. Assumptions that you made, beliefs that you made, how relevant they are with the time. In academia, we speculate much more, which I think is super important. Without that, my practice would not be the same. I think the most important piece of advice that I would give to a young architect would be just be a student and be patient, because architecture is a lifelong learning enterprise. You never stop learning. You know, I think for me, the most challenging project is probably the design of the new Hollywood Bowl shell. It's a tightrope between the requirement of like contemporary function with the inertia of change. That has to be the most difficult thing to do. And when you think about it, nostalgia is not a good thing. But if you have it, you have to use it. And Hollywood Bowl is one of those projects where everybody is nostalgic of that icon. And how can you use it to represent the future as opposed to representing the past? That is one of the projects in terms of practice. How do you work with different constituency? How can the limitation put you in a position when you have to be more creative? Because the more challenges you have, the more you have to think out of the box. Because there's no conventional solution to that problem. So you have to come up with something different and new. We became engaged with the Frost Theater about 4 years ago. So it started with a kind of fix-up of a project, and then it became amplified as we move along. We were asked to take care of the bad air handling system for the theater, and also we were asked to look into making the auditorium and the stage into a better stage. This is a magnificently beautiful thin shell concrete building, and it was very uniquely designed at that time. So it has this kind of fan shape, pleated concrete, only 4-inch thick. It's 210 feet span of a building, and it's beautiful. All of the tensile is gathered to the center point, then it's being anchored at one end by a single arch leg. Clearly, it has a lot of influence by Candela and the like. To date, I still don't know where other structure like this is in Los Angeles. There are a lot of challenges when you have to work with an existing building. First of all, this is one of those projects where the budget is so limited that you can only do small intervention here and there. So when you're looking at the lobby, for example, even though it's not a performance space, the acoustic was horrible because it has all of the glass wall and very hard surfaces. But I think the other thing that we wanted to do with the lobby was to kind of give it a sense of entrance and a transition from the lobby into the theater. So we created a wall, which is a display wall that also acts as a transition wall and light lock. So it's another layer that we add on to the building itself. So we basically reconfigured everything inside the theater. And the limitation of that building is this. The original design is very much dictated by geometry, which is a radial geometry because it's based on a circle. So the architect was completely obsessed by that geometry, so everything is radiating, including the wall, the dressing room, the shop, everything has a pie shape. It didn't work. What we did was we completely worked against the circle to redesign everything. So the arch here is like working with the geometry of the shell coming this way, and the arch is on the opposite. It's kind of orthogonal to the shell itself. You can see that the arch itself sits on a big platform, and it has like 16 micropile of 3 inches going down 16 feet. Because the structure underneath the building, it has all of these tensile beams that come to the center. So we have to find where the footing of the arch would be placed. So that was really very difficult for us to do. The arch is designed to be tapered. Everything is very thin and everything is tapered down. Really, we wanted to look very light, even though it's holding up everything. There's a contrast between how light the arch should be in opposed to the catwalk, which is, it is what it is. The catwalk is just pure and simple, very functional, very pragmatic. You don't design the catwalk because it's part of the theater. We have provided them with a new state-of-the-art performance space where you can have theater production, dance production, music production like symphony and rock, which this facility has never had before. It would be so transformative for the school and for the community. So it's really super exciting. This is a place where students actually learn how to stage production. This is for them.